This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
All right, hello and welcome to our July bonus episode of Grilling JR here on Ad Free Shows, and we're excited this month to bring you the Bash at the Beach from '96. JR, how you doing today?
I'm good. Good to talk to you, Paul, as always.
Yeah, it's good to see you, and the 25-year anniversary this month of the nWo and the Hogan heel turn. And JR, we're going to watch that match today from Bash at the Beach.
I have to admit, I've never watched it before, so it's going to be brand new. Well, you know, when it's just hard to go watch more wrestling when you're on the road, you know, every week, and with running talent relations and doing payroll and booking the live events and et cetera, that job just never ended. There's no all seasons we've talked about before in pro wrestling. So I didn't really make the time. I had time. I guess I could have done it, but I just wasn't motivated to watch more wrestling. And of course, I'm aware of the Hogan business, and it was the talk of the world for the pro wrestling world for a good while. So it ought to be a fun show. And like I said, I looked at it a little bit this morning, just to get a kind of a feel for who's there and all that stuff. So it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, JR, before we hit play here, I'll set the stage for everybody that's watching along or listening. Kevin Nash and Scott Hall jumped to WCW months before this, and the speculation begins immediately after they talk about a third man, that someone will be joining them in their new faction. Eric and Conrad had a pretty animated discussion where Eric claims it was former WCW wrestlers Vinny Vegas and the Diamond Stud who are coming back for revenge. JR, in your opinion, the way WCW presented it, were they going for a WWF invasion angle more here?
I think they were. You know, they didn't mention Hall and Nash by name for seemed like forever, but they did eventually. But it certainly was, to me, was to try to replicate a hostile takeover and get people talking, and it did. And it generated, that was what got them turned around, in my view, this turn we're going to see, and made them very relevant in those 83 weeks.
Yeah, it felt like as a fan, too, there were some references about kind of coming in from the north and stuff like that. So how could it not been, you know? So.
Well, I think you're right. It couldn't have, it had to be.
Yeah.
I understand there were certain words that weren't used and certain terminologies that were used that would indicate what you're just saying, up north and all those things.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it was. I mean, it was to drive ratings. And you know, Hogan had never been, except in the old territory days, Hogan had really never been a full-blown heel. He was a heel back in the day, as we say, but he was you know, it was fleeting. So his primary legacy is a babyface. Obviously, you find out that big guys like that, you can say, well, they're going to be a monster heel, but even monster heels have to feed a comeback. And Hogan was so big and so impressive looking that he was hard to hate in that respect. So, you know, I just think that it was a surprise, and wrestling fans love surprises when they're done right. This was done right. This was a very good angle that we're going to analyze here in a few moments. So, but it was obvious to everybody why Hall and Nash left WWE and went to work for WCW. I mean, it's pretty obvious to me. Like you said, I don't know, what else could it have been? So they came in for a purpose, to stir it up, create their own little group. Some people are going to like cool heels. They were cool heels.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan, Paul, of cool heels. It's like being a funny heel. Why should you dislike somebody enough to want to see them get their ass beat if they're entertaining you in a positive way? They're making you laugh. If they're, you know, making, oh, what'd he say? So it's like swimming upstream a little bit. And unfortunately, the everlasting images of Hall and Nash being cool heels didn't evaporate. There's talents today that believe if they are cast or booked, in other words, as a heel, that they will, you know, they'll have this fan base, and they don't realize that you want the majority of the fans to not like you if you're cast as a heel. You're a villain in a scripted performance. So being being loved and being embraced by your audience as a villain is counterproductive in my view. Now I say that, but on this occasion, all that stuff I just said goes out the window because this worked. But as a steady diet of cool heels, it's not a great trade-off, I don't think.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, how bad are you really going to want to see somebody get their ass kicked if secretly you're enjoying their character and kind of cheering them on?
Or they're making you laugh.
Yeah.
They're doing comedy spots. I've heard all along in my career that, you know, comedy doesn't draw money. It's entertaining. It's a nice addition, no doubt about it, but it's a different diversion. It's a different perspective, all those things. But at the end of the day, you've got to really dislike your heels, because if not, you're doing a big disservice to the baby faces. And this is not an a cappella business. You got to have shared teamwork and shared presentation. So I think that's what we're going to see here in this scenario. The way I get it, it was supposed to be a 6-man tag, right?
Yes, it is. And
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at savewithconrad.com.